All right, welcome back to the Classic Motorsports Workshop. Today we are going to rebuild the steering rack. Steering racks probably confuse a lot of people, and what do you do when you're rebuilding it? In truth, you're mostly just disassembling it, cleaning it, and lubricating it. But you also need to check and make sure there's no damage. So this is the actual rack. That's what it looks like. And whether this particular one happens to be from a Bugeye Sprite, but a Miata or any other rack and pinion car is going to look roughly the same. The process is going to be roughly the same. So as you can see, this rack has already been disassembled and I've painted everything. But still, I'll kind of show you how it comes apart and then we'll put it back together. There's not really a lot of consumables in a rack and pinion system. As long as everything's straight and not scored real badly or damaged in any other way, basically clean it, put it back together, and put new rack boots on it and new tie rod ends. I would always replace the tie rod ends unless they look absolutely perfect. So for this Sprite rack, we've gotten tie rod ends from Moss Motors, as well as rack boots. There's this one little pinion seal that we'll replace. And that's really about it. When you're starting to work on a steering rack, it's going to look roughly like this. You're going to pull your boots and your tie rod ends off. So there will be one or more of these tensioners. And these are fairly simple. And as you can see, this has been shimmed. So there's a specification. They want a certain amount of preload on it. And this is simply a copper bushing with a spring behind it. When you're taking this apart, you need to make sure you don't lose the shims or forget how many there are, because it's going to want to go back together the same way. With these tensioners removed, you'll be able to pull the pinion gear out. So rack, pinion, it's that simple. It's not that different a concept than what you'll find in a differential. So you're looking everything over, make sure nothing's bent, chipped, or excessively worn. This was a functioning rack when we took it apart, so we're not expecting any great problems. You'll need to remove at least one tie rod end. While I'm sure there are special tools that are long lost to the history of these British cars, these tie rod ends are pretty easy to remove if you put it carefully in a vise. A lot of time I'll put a couple blocks of wood around it to make sure I don't score anything. And then you can put a pipe wrench and get this loose. So with the tie rod end removed, and the pinion gear out, you'll now be able to pull the rack out. So as you can see from some of the pictures we'll show you, this was a nasty, greasy, dirty mess. We've cleaned it and inspected it for damage, and it seems quite good. So now we'll lubricate it and put it back together. So once you pull the pinion gear out, you'll see that there's two little shims. There's one at the bottom and one at the top. The rounded edge faces the top. On this particular rack, they're slightly different sizes. The larger one was at the bottom, and these keep the pinion in the correct position so that it mates with the rack. So once assembled, this tensioner rides against the rack, and what that's doing is keeping it from rattling when you're going down the road. And it keeps a little bit of a preload on the rack so it doesn't feel too light. So unless this is badly damaged, you can reuse it. This one is not perfect, but it's good enough. We've run all these parts through our parts washer, our ultrasonic cleaner, and a couple of them we've media blasted. So now let's start lubricating everything and putting it back together. A common misnomer is that a steering rack has grease in it. The experts I've talked to at Moss and other places have told me that it really wants to have about a 140 weight gear oil. The reason I'm told is it looks like grease when you take it apart is the stuff has hardened over the 50 or 60 years that this has been on the road. So you don't actually have to, but I like to put a little oil on everything as I'm putting it together. It's a little messy, but that way things slide together well. You obviously need to gear the rack so that it mates with the pinion. So this end cap for the pinion gear was also shimmed, so we'll put the same amount of shims back, but first we'll get a little RTV to put on there. This is a Permatex Ultra Black. It's gasket maker, but it's oil resistant, which is what you'd probably want to use. So we've put the bushing in. Now we're feeding the pinion gear in. All right, we can put the little seal on at the top, and you want to put a little oil on the seal. That's what gets it going. That's what makes it work. And then it gets this plastic cap on this rack that goes between it and the steering knuckle. All right, and as we discussed, this rack has these 2 tensioners. So we'll get a little lubrication in here. And again, there's shims on one of these. You want to make sure you have those in. Yeah, obviously, if you take pictures of everything as you're disassembling it, that will serve you well. And certainly want to get a little oil on the mating surface here. So we're going to leave this cap loose for right now because we're going to use it to fill this rack with fluid. Every rack will have torque specs. You're going to have to look at your own manual to see what the torque specs are on the rack you're working on. When you're working on the tie rod, you should not be able to move this back and forth. If it's badly worn, you're going to need to find either a new or a used part to replace it. At least any British car I've worked on has these special retainers that make sure that the tie rod end doesn't back out, which would obviously be horrible to have happen. So these retainers are made to clip onto the tie rod end and also to mount in a groove inside the actual rack housing. So you usually can reuse them, but you may want to bend up the tabs a little bit to make sure they're working properly. All right, that you've adjusted your tabs a little bit. You'll find how this sits on the actual rack. You put that against the rack. You put the retainer against the rack, and then you can tighten the tie rod end in. Yeah, you want to tighten, I mean, again, every car will have different specs, but essentially you're trying to bottom the tie rod end out, and then the clips are what will hold it in place. So I'll finish this up in the vise in the other room and I'll be right back. Once you have the tie rod end on tight, you need to tap the retainer back down into the slot so it doesn't come off. This is a chisel. This is a chisel that's been dulled. I use this a lot for this sort of thing. And now you can see that's back on there. So, with the tie rod ends back on, you can put the boots on. Again, a little lubrication here makes these easier to go on. A little lubrication makes the boots a lot easier to get on. These are always a little bit of a bugger, but you got to get it around where you just put the tie rod in on. I've taken the original boot clamps and I've cleaned and painted them. And we'll put those back on and we're nearly done. So once you get the clamps on, they have a nut on the back that catches the clamp, and you just need to tighten it with a small screwdriver. It's not that crucial how tight you get it, as long as it keeps the boot from coming back off when you start steering the car. So there's a place right on the tie rod. There's a place right on the tie rod end where this boot, it's a grooved area where this boot should mount. I like to get my hose clamps facing the same way and in the same area. It's not crucial, but I'm, I guess, used to doing a lot of Concours restorations where that stuff does become important. All right, we've got our boots on. We need to put our tie rod ends on, but first we got to remember to put the lock nuts onto our tie rod ends. From an adjustment standpoint, this rack, I don't even know which rack this car came from, so I'm not that worried about adjustment, but you can mark this as you're taking it apart to get it roughly in position But still you're going to need to align the car once you do this. And again, I would definitely recommend replacing the tie rod ends. They're not very expensive. These are from Moss Motors. They had them in stock, and I think they were 20 or 30 bucks. Well, the reason you want to replace these is they generally are, these are the wear items on the front steering, or the items that wear the most at least. And then once you get everything aligned, you lock these down against the tie rod ends, and you are good to go. All right, so our last step, other than putting the mounts back on, which are over here. So most grease guns are a cartridge type grease gun that won't take a fluid like this. So if you don't have the correct grease gun, you can fill the rack, just slowly fill it through one of the tensioners or through the top. You can fill the rack. On the backs of the tie rod ends are little holes. You can fill those with fluid, although ultimately the fluid will travel from here into the tie rod ends. All right, with our rack all rebuilt, we want to put our rack mounts back on, and we should be good to go. All right, you'll make your final adjustments on your mounts once you get the rack back in the car, but as you can see, we have a rebuilt steering rack. One final thing to consider is these are not plated. These tie rod ends are not plated and will rust if you don't paint them with something. That's your call. So as we mentioned when we started, this rack is from a Bugeye Sprite that we're restoring. So if you like this sort of stuff, please go to our website, classicmotorsports.com. You'll see more on this rack as well as the car that it came from, our Bugeye Sprite project. And please subscribe to our channel. You can get notified when we have another video coming out.
Support brands that support classic motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. Visit crcindustries.com to learn more.